Hello there. So in June 2024 I did my third video on physical releases for the Spectrum Next, and it's now January 2025 and I have amassed another 10 physical releases, so 10 releases in a 6-month period. It's not bad. So without further ado, this is the first one and it was released around July 2024, so not long after I made that third video. And this is Magnum Clean Shot by Cavern Games, which is Andy Laird. And Andy Laird, of course, did Bikers and Tengu, and this is his third game if you don't include the deluxe edition of Bikers. So it comes in a DVD style case. This is one I think he used for Bikers Deluxe maybe, which had the soundtrack, so you do have the CD, DVD, ROM cut out there and the SD card. And what we get with this is we get some cards of different characters. And that white suit's going to stay very clean for long. This guy bringing a knife to a gunfight. He looks like that Balin guy from the Showcase. Is it Balin? I can't remember his name now. Guy who played Polo in Rome, who's sadly not with us anymore. So yeah, we have 4 cards, and we have instructions. You're Special Agent Jack Callahan. 5 years ago you took down the notorious crime lord Alfonso DeVille, sending shockwave through the underworld. I do like to see manuals which are just more than a single leaf, you know, folded in half. Considering you've got this, you know, space in the case, you know, to put things in. Programming Andy Laird, static art Shutterstock, Richard Falconer, audio driver assistance, soundtrack Max Stack, and executive producers. I don't think I've ever seen executive producers on or listed on the next game anymore. So yeah, and the SD card with one of those really fiddly labels that are really hard to stick on. So I always applaud the people who put labels on SD cards. It's very fiddly. Oh, which way around does this go? Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. So yeah, that is Magnum Clean Shot. And he's working on another game, which is nice. Those of you at Crash last year may have seen a demo of it. So it's always good to see Andy Cavern Games continuing to write games for the platform. Now next up is a deluxe version of a game that was released last year. Was it last year? I can't remember now, I'm losing track. But this one was released in, I think, July 2024. And it was Chris Wilkins, Fusion Retro Games, who took on the challenge of creating this deluxe edition of Head Over Heels in this nice shiny box. Rusty Pixels, of course. And Spec Next Limited is on there because it was part of, well, Spec Next Limited acquired the rights, etc. And then Rusty Pixels took on the responsibility of actually authoring the game. And this hopefully will be a series of deluxe editions. This is number 1. Nice artwork on the back here. The writing is quite small for my old eyes though. But yeah. And I'm not sure whether this one has anything additional to the version that came out digitally and on, you know, in the DVD style case. I'm not sure. So yeah, very nice. We have a badge. Let's just get out of this plastic. Fiddly. I'm not sure if the camera's going to capture this well because it doesn't tend to focus in well on small things. But there you go, Head and Heels there. we have a card signed by Mike Flash Ware and Simon Butler. Of course, Flash was the coder and Simon did the graphics. We have a manual. Just as I said before on the Magnum clean shot, I like manuals to have multiple pages, but you know, given the other things that are in this box, you know, we can forgive it that. We need to get this in the frame. Emperor has captured Head and Heels and imprisoned them in Castle Blacktooth. I think everybody's played Head Over Heels at some point, whether it's on the next or whether it's on the original ZX Spectrum. Great game, loved it. Music and sound effects by Alan, who I can never pronounce his name, so I'm not even going to try. Actually, it's only Alan Bostrop Sorensen, isn't it? So, you know, it's not that difficult if you bother to put the effort in. And then we have the soundtrack, which is on a faux kind of vinyl, but it's obviously just a CD. Nice, evil black CD looking thing there. CD-ROMs, I've not actually played this. I don't have a CD or DVD-ROM drive handy. I have to go up into the loft to dig out a USB one. I've not done that yet, but I do have the soundtrack anyway, in WAV format. So, yeah, I will fire this up one day. And of course, the SD card. Again, we've got a label on that. Ever so slightly wonky, I have to say. But yeah, have to applaud the effort because they are really awkward, especially if you're doing lots of them. And I believe there were lots of these deluxe editions made and sold, which is good. Yeah, so that was Head Over Heels, and it's a great special edition. Came out in, when was it? About around July 2024, sometime. This one was made available. So that's that. Next up is... Things are falling on the floor now. Hold on. Okay, we're back. So yeah, Aliens Neoplasma II, sequel to Aliens Neoplasma, of course. And this was around, I think, August 2024. Now, it was released digitally, and a small number of physical releases were made. And again, it's by Sanchez Crew, as was the first. It's a continuation of the first game. DVD style case here, as you can see. And just some backstory. And a QR code that I've not actually scanned yet. I wonder where that takes me. I don't know. Unfortunately, my phone is capturing, so I can't actually scan it at the moment. So here we have a single sheet here. I do like the double-sided print. I always find that gives it a sense of, you know, quality when you have the double-sided print. And on the back, useful hints. I should look at where the camera's pointing, really, shouldn't I? Yeah, I mean, I can't really complain about this physical release because it wasn't really, I guess, officially released physically, at least not to the general population. So, yeah. I am hoping that they will be able to release it at some point. Not sure what the issue is, because obviously they released the first one, okay, and I'm just not sure whether it's the kind of the ability to get the, you know, materials together and to be able to ship. And I didn't mention the SD card, did I? So again, +1 for the label on the SD card. It is The game itself is fantastic, it really is, both of them are. That, you know, and Delta Shadow as well. I just really love kind of the scope of them, and it's just really, really fun to play these games. So, really thankful to the Sanchez crew, you know, for making all these games for the Spectrum Next. They've been quite prolific with, you know, Delta Shadow, the add-on for Delta Shadow. You've got Vradok's Sphere, Vradok's Revenge, you've got Treasure Hunters and such. And, you know, this, you know, continue to work on things. So yeah, Aliens Neoplasma II. Next up is Dougie Do. Now this was a game released a few years ago as a digital download by Rob Moran, as you can see, Rob Moran. And it was only fairly recently, I think, that Richard Falconer, who'd started getting into the, I guess the publishing, we could say, of software, off the back of TX 1696. You probably know him better as Man in a Techno Shed. And I guess he had bought in plenty of stock of these DVD cases and then thought, well, Rob Moran's games are really good, why don't we do physical releases of those? So he did, and I picked up Dougie Do at Crash back in November 2024. After his brother ran away to the circus to collect cherries, Dougie Do decided on a more profitable career, diamonds. So yeah, Dougie Do. So yeah, double-sided print. We don't have anything in here, but you know, this was probably never going to be made into a physical release. So the fact it has been made into a physical release is great. Coding Rob Moran, music by Man in His Techno Shed, sprites MC Flesher, box cover design Backed Arcade, published by Techno Shed Software, which of course is Richard, who is doing more and more, I think, because I know he's distributing, I think, Captain Squarejaw at the moment in the UK. So yeah, that's Dougie Do. And along similar lines as Dougie Do, again, Rob Moran. We have Webster and The Spider-Bots, which again I think it came out a few years ago. I'm not really sure. I know these physical releases were made available, I think maybe around August last year. Just looking at my notes here, I don't have any detail on Webster and The Spider-Bots, I must admit, for when the original came out. I know Dougie Do was a few years ago, maybe Webster was too. So again, it's one of those things where there probably would never have been a physical release. And then Richard steps in and says, you know, let's do it. And it's great to have. I've got a bit of a cold, by the way. So the world of the Spider-Bots was once a peaceful world. This was until one day a new Bots Off security patch was released. Well, we all know about security patches, don't we? Coding Rob Moran, graphics MC Flesher and Rob Moran, music by Daryl Sloan. And some music shorts, playtesting, Adrian Sinclair, Brett, Backed Arcade, Pritchard, published by Technoshed. So again, it's just a DVD case. We've got a double-sided print here with instructions on there. I guess that's kind of an efficiency saving, really, isn't it? Not having to print out leaflets, because obviously everything costs money. Nice to have, though. I did say in a previous video that I wasn't going to be a completionist, but something is still driving me to collect all these things, and it's really annoying, but I just can't help it. There you go. Next up is August 2024. This was made available for pre-order. I think it started shipping in maybe October, November 2024, and it's Black and White by the Pat Morita team. And Pat Morita have done a few games for the Next. They did, referring to my notes, Shovel Adventure, of course, which was a Kickstarted game, and then they did The Lost Temples as well, which I've mentioned in previous videos, was offered to people on the Shovel Adventure Kickstarter at a discount, and Lost Temples became available as a physical title as well. Lost Temples had a standard DVD release and also a deluxe release. I'm not sure there's going to be a deluxe release for Black and White. I've not heard anything about it. So yeah, Pat Morita team again. very small writing on the back. You should be able to read. The night had been peaceful until the twin witches, Candle and Alice, began to meddle with the treasure of Kalila Kingdom. A fortune in diamonds. It's diamonds. Diamonds are very popular. If you look at Dougie Do and Tiberian as well, diamonds seem to be very popular in games. So yeah, Pat Morita team. It's a Next Hub release, number 31. Double-sided print again, which I love. Really makes the thing sit nicely, within the context of the graphics. And then we've got a nice thick manual. Now, Pat Morita historically has been really good in terms of the stuff that comes with the physicals. So this is a nice manual. Bit of story, controls. I really like this. Okay, it's thicker because we've got Spanish as well. I think that's standard across all of the games that Pat Morita team have done. And the back of these are the two other games, as I mentioned, Shovel Adventure and The Lost Temples, which you can acquire from there. Again, we have a printed SD card. Nice. Okay. I put that upside down, that's going to annoy me now. So yeah, that is black and white. Now next up is another deluxe edition of a game that was released a long time ago on the Spectrum Next. And this is Warhawk. And I believe there was a pre-order for this in about October, maybe, 2024. And again, Chris Wilkins, Fusion Retro Games, are responsible for this deluxe edition of Warhawk. Very nice, shiny box again. Same box style as Head Over Heels. Fusion Retro Games 2, second deluxe edition they've done. Hopefully there will be more. I would like to see Night Knight, for example, and others. Incoming message from HQ, high alert, high alert. And I think everybody's probably played Warhawk. It was one of the early games that came out for the Spectrum Next. Actually before the Spectrum Next had been ratified, really, before the hardware specs had finished, things were still moving. So I wonder what he could accomplish now with the kind of the finished core. And I do suspect we will see a sequel to Warhawk at some point. So yeah, let's see what's in the box. So just along similar lines to Head Over Heels, let's just put that to one side a minute. We have a card again, signed by the great man himself, Mike Flash Were. We have a leaflet, the battle manual, just telling you what the controls are. And then we've got this here, with lots of, I don't know if that's Chinese writing or Japanese writing. It's probably Japanese writing, isn't it? Let's see what this is all about. Artwork. It's like a bit of a backstory here. I need to look at where the camera's pointing, really. Everything is kind of off camera. I'm not bothering to look, and I should. So yeah, nice artwork here. Yep. Warhawk, Kamisha, I can't even pronounce that. Kamishabai, created by Lobo. Space Fractal. Nice. And then we also have a badge, as per Head Over Heels. Which is reluctant to come out. There we go. And again, I don't know if this is going to focus very well. There you go. It did focus fine. And then we have the soundtrack. Again, it's the pretend vinyl CD. Bit of dust on that. And as with Head Over Heels, I will fire this up one day and have a listen. Again, I have the music in WAV. And the SD card, again. Nice printed label on there. And that is Warhawk, the Deluxe Edition. Just make sure this closes properly with this badge in there. Here we go. Not many left now. We've got Captain Squarejaw, which was, I think, released in November 2024. And this is by BCW Design. BCW is Budda Cudda Wudda. And this game was in development for many years. I remember, maybe at least 2 or 3 years ago, seeing the seeds of this game and playing a demo of it. But then the game evolved and changed, and then years later it was finally released, and it's always good to see something that's been in development for so long actually come to fruition. And it's a really good game as well. I just need to straighten this this thing here. It's a bit crinkled. Journey on a vast adventure through 5 unique worlds to collect wealth and fame, all the while avoiding perilous dangers. I wonder if you could collect diamonds in this one. I must admit, I've not had much time to play games in the last 6 months. But I will. So yeah, we have the manual here. Or is it? Yeah, it's just a leaflet. Nice double-sided print though. Although the SD card's right on its head. Deep within the heart of the forgotten jungle, Captain Squarejaw, renowned adventurer. I really need a drink. Sorry. It's not really helped. And we have a standard Wasp. Wasp games tend to just have the Wasp logo. So if you did kind of take all your SD cards out of all the Wasp games and stick them all in a bowl somewhere, you're not going to really know what's what. But these do look to have been printed on as opposed to, you know, sticky labels and such. So it does cut out, I guess, that labour-intensive part of the process. It makes it easier to produce in large numbers, especially when you're not varying the image on a game-by-game basis. So yeah. That is Captain Squarejaw, and it is hub release 29, $24.99 MSRP. Highly recommend this game. Really, really good game. And then next we have Xeno Brigade Extinction, even, which came out in November 2024. It's 2024, yeah. And again, I picked this up at Crash, Greenman Soft, and it is a sequel to Xeno Brigade. originally by Greenman Soft. And I've never actually had confirmation on the pronunciation of his surname, because in my last video I think I just winged it and said Les Greenhalgh, and I don't think he ever corrected me, or at least I don't know if I've seen a comment on him correcting me. And I do hate getting people's names wrong, so if I'm not sure, sometimes I don't even mention their names at all, but yeah, Les. And again, this is an homage to turn-based strategy games, the likes of Laser Squad, Rebel Star and such. And it is really an enhanced version of the original, with many improvements. And on the steaming jungle planet of, is that Vadum 3, the Xeno Brigade, Hunter Queen, the last of her kind, imprisoned within ancient ruins, she calls to her brood. So yeah, aliens and marines. Zingot Games, TechnoShed, Baptist Arcade, lots of logos on this one. I think this was a man in TechnoShed Software, wasn't it, who did the physical release. So what we have is a nice instruction manual with many pages, which I like. The writing is a good size as well, not trying to fit too much in. Really nice artwork as well. Sorry, my voice is going a bit funny. As I mentioned, I've got a cold. For a game like this, you really do need instructions, because there's a complexity to it. You know, it's not just up, down, left, right, fire. There's lots to consider, lots of strategy to consider, objects within the environment that you can interact with. Yeah, and all the weapons. And after much badgering of Les over time, I believe, I have to admit I haven't played this yet, but I will be playing it. But he has incorporated Corporal Jonlin into the game, which is, you know, achievement unlocked. There to see Corporal Jonlin back, if people remember the original Laser Squad. He was always my favourite Marine. I think it was only in the first 3 missions. When I used to play Laser Squad, it was on the ST. And I think there were 5 missions, were there? Or 7, I don't remember. It just really evokes the memories for me of Laser Squad. And looking at this level here. And again, I need to be looking at it here because it's off the bloody page. It's a very nice manual. Greenman Soft, graphics and loading art, Zingot Games. Okay, this is why we've got the various people. Cover design, manual and testing, Baptist Arcade. I have to say you've done a really good job with the manual and artwork and such. And music and man in his TechnoShed. Now, I have to say, I've got to ding you on one thing now. David Sapphire is not spelled like that, but you know, I'm sure he's fine with that. Jose Rodriguez even. And that's the only thing, you know, but you know, it's not a bad thing at all. And of course, because I got mine at Crash, I had Les sign it. Nice. And a QR code which I've not scanned, which presumably takes you to the website. I don't know. To see all the wares on offer. So yeah, really nice physical release. Really like that logo as well, the Greenman Soft one. Now then, I think this is the last one, looking at the camera, it's there. The last one, the last piece of the puzzle of these 10 is Saboteur 2 by Clive Townsend. And this game originally came out on the Spectrum in about '87, so it's a long time ago. And this is a next enhanced version. And I remember playing this one back in the day. I still had my Spectrum. It's one of those things that shows me how long did I keep the Spectrum for. Well, I played Saboteur 2, so I must have had it in '87. The information retrieved from a previous mission has led us to suspect something sinister is happening at the Viridis Corporation. This is a Next Hub release, number 27. Nice artwork. Double-sided print. But I have to ding Clive on this. Clive, if you're watching, just stick something in here. Go on. You know you want to. Bit of artwork. There are the controls. Just nice, really, in a physical, just to have something. Go on, please. I'm not trying to be overly critical or anything. And we have the SD card with a printed label. It's just when there's nothing in there, there's not much I can talk about, you know. It's it goes over far too quickly when I'm looking at, you know, a physical release, and there's nothing else in there to look at. So, go on. Game design, code art, cover art, Clive Townsend. Music by Megas and CJeff. Sprite help from Ricardo Oyen Rodriguez. 2024, published by Incognito Games. So yeah, that is the 10, I think. Yeah. So that brings us to an end of this part 4